And we're back with the Malzberg panel. Brad Hirschfield is here and Adam Thompson. All right, guys, quickly on the election here. Dearborn, Michigan. 41% of the voters were Arab Americans. It's the largest Arab American enclave in the country. And when it came to voting, on the Democrat side, the Jewish candidate Bernie Sanders got 59% to Hillary's 39%, and Trump, who wants to make it more difficult for Muslims to come into the country, won with 39% to Kasich's 29%. Brad, how did that happen?
Well, there are two things to remember. A significant percentage, not a majority, but a large plurality of the Dearborn community is actually Christian. And it does point to a larger issue, which whether you're Republican or Democrat, conservative or liberal, you should be concerned about. And that is the shrinking Christian community and the Christian survivability in the Middle East. As Islamism spreads across the region, it is becoming increasingly dangerous and in many cases deadly to live in the lands where Jesus first walked and preached. And that's a serious issue.
Yeah, but I'm talking...
And I think Michiganders know that. And it turns out that actually they voted for Sanders because it's not a Jewish, non-Jewish thing.
These are the Arab Americans voting for Sanders.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
But remember, the issues that people assumed would be along religious lines, so
right.
Muslims against Jews would be a problem, and that Trump's comments were about Muslims, not about Arabs.
Right.
It's why it was bad public policy to begin with, whether you agree with them or not, but it's not totally surprising that the numbers came out the way they did in that district.
I don't really agree. I mean, obviously Trump has come on very hard about letting Muslims into the country and the action he'll take against ISIS. In a recent speech just given by Sanders, he was pretty much pandering to the Muslim population, basically by saying he'll look at the whole Middle East situation in a new light and hopefully try to bring the parties together, implying that both sides had been unreasonable in the past, when we all know it's terrorism that's plaguing and attacking Israel. I don't know why he would make statements like that, but he did.
That's a good point.
Probably that resonated with that population.
That's a good point.
That voting bloc.
Very good point, actually. Yeah, actually a good point. And that leads me to the American student who was killed in Israel. Joe Biden actually condemning the act and condemning those who don't condemn the act, and that's the Palestinians, and also condemning the incitement. I think Barack Obama must have fainted when he heard what Joe Biden said, Brad.
Look, it was a tragic circumstance. This young man, Mr. Force, was a graduate of West Point. He was a success, served 5 years in the Artillery Corps, both deployed in Afghanistan and Iraq, and went on to what seemed to be a very promising career in high tech. He was murdered, and it proves once again that terrorism doesn't simply cut along religious or political lines. The impulse to murder the innocent is the impulse to murder the innocent. And when you don't speak out against it, regardless of whom it is happening to, you are setting yourself and those closest up to you for being the next victims.
And Adam, there's a new report out that talks about the plight of Christians that Brad alluded to throughout the world, especially, of course, in the Middle East, and for Barack Obama to make a declaration of genocide against, label it as genocide when it comes to what Christians are going through. I wouldn't hold my breath with this president. And I got to say, I wish the Pope would be as outspoken about the genocide going on against Christians around the world as he is about, Donald Trump and the Mexican border.
Well, leaders have to lead, and those are the messages we need sent by these particular leaders. I applaud Joe Biden for speaking out right off the cuff and saying, honestly, what came off the top of his head. Isn't it great when people just speak unscripted? You usually get the truth, because if he was probably behind closed doors with all the people at the White House in Washington, they would have pre-planned what could have been said, right. And we probably never would have got that message.
Well, he was in Israel.
Yeah, he was in Israel. President Obama.
All right, let me move on to this. Bill de Blasio, the mayor of New York City. By the way, I came out of the Lincoln Tunnel today, and on West 40th Street, where there used to be a slew of squeegee men that would wash your windows or spit on your window and then wash you with their sleeve and demand money for it. And Rudy Giuliani stopped that. I hadn't seen a squeegee man until today. And he didn't have a squeegee. I don't know what the heck he had. And he was banging on people's windows to get money. So we're back. So that's Bill de Blasio. Now he signed an executive order so that any guy could use any girl's restroom if he says he feels like a girl today. Transgender, in other words. Brad, this is disgusting, it's disgraceful, and it puts young women and little girls in danger.
Well, I don't know about the last claim, and I think however well-intentioned he may have been, and I'm always in favor of giving people the benefit of the doubt, this is a completely misguided policy. It's not that I'm insensitive. There are 25,000 self-identified transgendered people in New York City. There are millions and millions of people who simply have no way to be comfortable with dealing with that. And legislating this kind of cultural change from the top down was an instance of being inclusive maybe of 25,000 at the price of millions of
Adam,
others.
20 seconds, go.
Well, the Human Rights Commission said that this was legal and it's the law in New York, so technically he could do it. Are there alternatives that he could have done that would have been more practical and made more sense? Probably yes. So de Blasio, swing and a miss again.
Yeah, big swing and a miss. And if I had a daughter or niece or whatever, I wouldn't be happy, and I'm not happy even though I don't. Thank you, guys. Up next, James Taranto, Wall Street Journal. Don't miss this one.